Hello everybody, Beard Reads Books here, and welcome to your Wednesday film review video. And in today's video I'm going to be talking about the 1962 film The Day of the Triffids, based on the John Wyndham book of the same name. Now it was 1962 that Day of the Triffids was released in the UK. It was released in the US a year later in '63. And the basic plot line of the story is there's these plants called Triffids, and they've got a certain level of intelligence, a certain level of mobility, and they're going around attacking humans. And a lot of humans have been blinded, like by a recent meteor shower meteor shower that happened sort of near the start of the story. So I mean that's the basic plot line of the story. Obviously the film does deviate a bit from the book. Now in the book, the plants, the Triffids, they have their origins, they have earthbound origins. And the protagonist, Bill Mason, he's a botanist, I think he was a botanist. He's been working with the plants, and his job with the plants has led him to believe they've been bioengineered by the Russians. And obviously he's one of these people. He was in the hospital sort of at the start of the book, well, and the film as well, with his eyes bandaged up because of an injury. So he's all bandaged up when this meteor shower happens, and it's the meteor shower that causes a lot of people to go blind. But because his eyes have been bandaged up at the time, he's unaffected by the meteor shower. So he's one of the people that hasn't been caused to go blind. He's still got his sight. And now in the book, sort of he's basically going around sort of England, sort of meeting up with other groups of people who are getting together. There's like groups of people who like survivors who've like banded together, and all these like groups are trying to deal with these like Triffids attacks, trying to deal with Triffids and get rid of Triffids, and at the same time they're all trying to form their own communities based on their own ideals. So, you know, Bill he's meeting different groups of people in different communities who are trying to form communities based on like different ideas of how communities should work, like how they should run and operate and how society should be restarted. And then obviously at the end of the book, he's going off to the Isle of Wight, and the Triffids are still in existence. The Triffids are still around. They haven't been eradicated. Now in the film, it's the Triffids. They have their origins in outer space. The Triffids come to Earth on the meteors in the meteor shower that happens at the start of the film. So, and then Bill Mason, he's a sailor in the film. He's not like a botanist. He's not working with the plants. So he's a sailor. But I mean, he still starts off in the film in the hospital with his eyes bandages. So that's how. So he still survives the effects of the meteor showers that way. And in the film, again, he's still sort of going around trying to get rid of the Triffids, and he's still meeting sort of groups of people. But unlike the book, in the film, you don't see these groups of people trying to form their own communities based on their philosophies of how the communities should be run. So the film's kind of missing that aspect, I think. Because that's one of the things I liked about the book, the fact that it was showing a snapshot of these different communities that were trying to restart society based on their own individual ideas of how communities should be run. And I like that in the book, but because in the film you're not really getting that. You're missing that aspect. Like the film's not showing these groups of people trying to run their communities based on their ideas. So I missed that aspect in the film, yeah. And another thing with the film that it really grated with me the first time I saw this film many years ago, because running concurrently with the storyline about Bill Mason, the main guy, there's kind of a sub storyline of this sort of husband and wife on this sort of, I think it was a lighthouse on this island, remote island lighthouse. They're also dealing sort of with the Triffids and all the rest, and it almost felt like, a completely separate storyline. And it, when I very first watched the film, I thought this feels like two stories like sort of slammed in together, like two stories sort of forced together to make one story. And it's like, this storyline about this couple on the lighthouse on this island, it feels as though it's got absolutely nothing to do with what Bill Mason, the storyline with Bill Mason, the main guy. Because afterwards, I sort of read up a bit about the film, and I discovered that what had happened was they sort of like recorded like the film, all the storylines like with Bill Mason and all the rest of what he's getting up to, and at the end of it all, they find they only had enough usable footage to make up about just under an hour's worth of film. They had something like 57 minutes worth of sort of usable footage, so they had to sort of go away and sort of film some more footage to sort of pad out the film to make a full-length film. And that's how they ended up with this storyline about this couple on this lighthouse on this remote island. They basically went away and created a subplot, a little storyline about this couple on this island to sort of pad out the film. Now, watching it this time around, sort of knowing about knowing that they'd had to film this storyline on the island to pad out the film, it didn't grate so much with me, but even so, it still felt like it's sort of two stories sort of forced together to make one film. And it's like, yeah, it's still a bit, it doesn't grate as much with me, but it was still a little bit, I didn't quite agree with it. I didn't work very well for me, So yeah, that kind of put me off. And my biggest bugbear was the way the film ended. Okay, now if you don't want to know how the film ended, if you don't want a spoiler for the ending, stop watching now. Okay, stop watching, because I'm going to tell you how it ends, right? So if you don't want to know, don't watch, right? Basically, this is how it ends. So the couple on the island, on the lighthouse, on the remote island, they discover pretty much right at the end of the film that Triffids can be killed by water. So what they do is they go around starting to like spraying all the Triffids all around the globe, sort of getting like drenched with like seawater, and that's how they get killed. The end of the story. Come on, you can't. I mean, what? You spend a whole film about mankind trying to survive and fight against and get rid of these Triffids, and then all of a sudden, water does it. Water kills them. The end. What an anticlimactic end to a film. It was absolute pants. Oh, yeah, that was, man, that was a bit of a duffer of an ending for me, yeah. So, I'll be honest with you, I think pretty much the only thing that I actually absolutely 100% loved about the Day of the Triffids, about the 62 film, was the film poster artwork. Now, film posters from that era, from the 50s and 60s, they were pretty good, you get some cracking good film posters out. And the film poster for Day of the Triffids was one of those ones. It is absolutely cracking. It is good. So that is one of those ones that I absolutely love. Yeah. So, and that's the only bit about the film that I actually 100% love. So the film poster. I mean, it's one of those films. it's straying into the territory of it's so bad, it's kind of good. Yeah, so yeah, that's the kind of film it is. So bad it's good. And I mean, what I'd say is, it's one of those films. It's good for putting on a Friday night when you come home from the pub. You know what I mean? When you've met up with you, when you've met up down the pub with your mates, and you've had a couple of pints down the pub, and after a couple of pints, you decide you're going to go around back to your house with you and your mates. Decide you're going to go back to someone's house and have a few more drinks at home rather than just finish off the evening, have a few drinks at home on a Friday night. This is the kind of film you'd put on in that scenario. It's a good film to just sort of quietly watch on a Friday night with your mates when you're having a drink and you fancy watching something that's so bad it's good. So yeah, that's how I would sell this film to you guys. It's a Friday night drinking film, you know. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and feel free to comment if you liked this review, if you didn't like it. If you've seen the film, let me know what you thought of it. You know, did you enjoy it? Did you think it was absolutely crap? Didn't enjoy it? So yeah, I'd like to hear what you thought of it. And yeah, so anyway, I'm going to bring this little video to an end. And once again, thank you for watching. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in the next one. And in the meantime, happy watching.